The name of this story is The Night I Heard a Demon. So the year was 1997, and I'd just gone through a divorce with my now ex-wife. It was my first night back at home, only it didn't feel like home at all. When I pulled into the driveway, the old wooden structure from the 1800s had not one light on and resembled a mass of black, a void that only took the shape of a house by coincidence. This place had been a place of warmth, of love, of connection. There wasn't a single sound as I walked through the old house that was once home. The bare walls that had once shown an array of framed pictures of what was once a happy family stared back at me with a blank expression, mocking me with eyes that were left from the nails that had been removed. A lot of the furniture that once was now gone, making the inside of the structure look even more vast, more cold, as if I didn't already feel small. After my initial walkthrough of the foreign tundra, I set my keys on the kitchen counter, took my boots off, and headed upstairs to my bedroom and tried to sleep. I had no clue what was in store for me that night. As I made my way up the stairs, the wooden treads squeaked and creaked as they compressed, just as they had many times before. But this night, it was different. The sounds were more visceral, like they were telling me, warning me not to ascend. But I proceeded onward. I made my way to the bedroom and laid down on my back, clothes still on. I hadn't the energy nor wherewithal to be comfortable. There I spent hours in a daze, with thoughts and memories racing like a ribbon of film on a Super 8 projector. The only sound in my company was that of the ringing in my ears due to tinnitus. I couldn't fall asleep, and the red glow from my alarm clock never ceased to remind me so. 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, then around 2 a.m., it happened. As I lay there, lost in my thoughts, suddenly I heard a long smash coming from the kitchen downstairs that shook the floor beneath me, sending a chill up my spine, the hairs on my arms standing on end. I was frozen in fear. The ringing in my ears from tinnitus ceased, leaving the only sound being that of my heavy breathing and the ever-increasing rate of my heartbeat. As I lay there stiff as a statue, more noises came, barely audible at first. I couldn't tell what it was, but then they became louder and louder. Footsteps. The sounds of the footsteps were slow, heavy, methodical. As I lay there frozen, I could hear another sound that accompanied the footsteps. There was the sound of what I can only describe as the breathing and growling of what could only come from a monster, a demon, and it was gonna rip me apart. The sound got louder and louder. Each step shook the whole house, sending the most intense feeling of fear I've ever felt in my life. I heard another sound that sounded all too familiar now. Squeaking, accompanied by a loud thud. I knew now that this thing was making its way up the stairs now. This thing must have been 800 pounds. The breathing, growling, and thus got louder and louder. Closer. I finally got the last little bit of courage that remained and ran into my closet and grabbed my 12-gauge shotgun and racked the shell into the chamber. Suddenly, there was silence. Nothing. I was so scared that I stayed in my closet until sunrise. I finally decided to make my way down the stairs, shotgun still in hand, to find that the front door was wide open and the silverware drawer had been pulled out completely from the cabinet and was lying upside down. Silverware strewn all about the kitchen floor. I know that this seems hard to believe, but this 100% is true and was not a dream. And I've never taken drugs in my life. I'm a man of faith, and I believe that this happened because I had lost faith during the divorce, was severely depressed, in a dark place, and hadn't been going to church. I started going to church every Sunday, and I haven't had a visit from that thing ever since. I still live in the same house today, and although there are many other stories I could tell, none of them are as terrifying or as visceral as that experience.